What's going on, guys? It's your boy Swole TCG, and we're out here with the super hot 7-0 deck profile. So I took this deck to the Blue Eyes Structure Deck event where we played for that beautiful Blue Eyes mat, and we ended up having 5 rounds of Swiss and 2 rounds of, it was top 4, so 2 rounds of top cut. And I went 7-0. I did not lose a single game inside my match. So I 2-0'd every single one of my opponents with this build. I already talked about Bystial Azamina Fiendsmith previously on this channel, and I put down the deck profile. I talked about a couple changes that I wanted to make with the deck. I did actually make a couple of those changes, and obviously the results spoke for themselves. I mean, the deck is fluid, it is beautiful. I've been testing Mitsurugi Azamina as well. And there's some kinks that I want to work out with it. It's not as consistent as I want it to be. I'm trying the pure Azamina with Mitsurugi Bystial combination, and then I'm also trying the Fiendsmith Mitsurugi Azamina build. It's not bad, but there's some tweaks definitely that need to go into that build. But right now, I mean, I fell in love with this build. I think this is probably the best Azamina build, the best Fiendsmith build you could possibly do, and it just is a huge meta call because it answers Blue Eyes. Blue Eyes just can't stop it. I mean, it's just impossible for them to stop. On top of that, like it answers Ryzel Fiendsmith. I mean, you're answering Fiendsmith engine on your own. You get plenty of follow-up. Azamina's scary if you let it go loose. You have 3 separate engines. Branded Regain is absolutely crazy against your Malice matchups because you're just shuffling back their guys, stops their extension, and then you're banishing their extenders. So it's just absolutely crazy, man. I really love this deck profile. I think this is tier 1, and I'm a huge fan of this deck. This is by far my favorite deck, and I think I'm going to continue playing this until I see how the TCG creates their ban list and reacts. I think this is the best meta call. And it's just so powerful. It's so powerful. It has more resiliency than Ryzel Fiendsmith. I mean, you have 3 separate engines your opponent has to prepare for, and I mean, you're gonna have something. You're always gonna have an answer. I always had an answer, and I've gotten out of sticky situations. I lost most of my die rolls. I only won 1 die roll in my 5 rounds of Swiss, and that was my last one. My first 4 rounds of Swiss, I lost all my die rolls, and that was also to a Ryzel Fiendsmith, Blue Eyes, all that stuff. So you got to go first on me, and I was able to break through. So I mean, it was just, this deck is insane, man. I can't tell you how much I love this deck. It's my undefeated deck, and I'll be running it back again this week with it, making some slate change. I have some ideas as well to go into it once we get the hits to Fiendsmith, because the Fiendsmith cards kind of amplify the Azamina cards because Track works with Queen Azamina because it'll special summon her because Track discards part of the effect. So it'll trigger her effect to special summon because it's not cost. And I think that's so fire. But let's go ahead and get on in this. Again, guys, I created this channel so we could build a community, get creative, build crazy awesome strategies. And I want to keep growing this community and bring out these new meta relevant tier lists so we're not seeing the same thing. So guys, please like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what your favorite deck list is, what your favorite like splashable engine is, what you think is the best meta calls right now. Like, I want to hear creative ideas so we can start building even more crazy decks. But let's go ahead and get on into this. Let me know what y'all think. Yo, what's going on, guys? We're gonna go ahead and get into this. I'm gonna show you the engine, then we'll go into the non-engine, then we'll go extra deck, and then we'll go into the side deck. So first up, the Fiendsmith engine, the GOAT, the absolute best thing in the world. The craziest engine right now to splash in anything. 3 Engraver. 3 Lacrima, your best normal summon, probably arguably the best normal summon in the game currently. The 1 Lurie. 1 Tracked. And 1 Paradise. Paradise is absolutely crazy. Never side this card out. I'm going to talk about part of my siding patterns as well in here so you guys kind of get an idea. This card comes up first or second. Never side it out. It's way too good. Tracked, phenomenal freaking card. Once we get the hits to Fiendsmith, most likely Tracked is going to be going up. So pick up your extra copies of Tracked because you're most likely going to be running like 2 to 3 once we get the hits because it's most likely a limited engraver. But absolutely crazy. Track works really well with Azamina. Like I said previously, once you add whatever, I mean, you can add Lacrima, and then you say you have a queen in hand, you send the queen as discard, and then the queen will special summon out. So then you still have your Sinful Spoils card to send, because queen's still considered a Sinful Spoils card, and it's pretty crazy. And unlike the trap, it goes back to the graveyard. So the queen actually goes back to the graveyard, unlike the trap. So it'll actually work, and you can actually resolve your fusion summon. Next up, my favorite part of the deck, the Azamina package, 2 Hallowed. Same thing, once the Fiendsmith happens, we're most likely going to up this to 3, because Hallowed Azamina is crazy. I want to see the card in my hand. 1 Slumber, probably the most goated Simple Spoils card you could have. 3 Deception, because we don't like bricks, and we also like to burn people because TCG has horrible time rules. So love the Deception, and believe me, it does come up. You can burn people, especially when you're playing an Azamina heavy deck like me. It comes up. Best starter in the game, Wanted. Love this. Wanted plus Hallowed, crazy. After Alliance Insight, Wanted plus Hallowed is absolutely phenomenal combo, because you just go straight into Saiyan, and Saiyan will bring out the Omni Gate for free, just like that. I mean, because Wanted will search the new Diabell Star that's considered a Simple Spoils card on resolution. You send the Wanted and the new Diabell Star, you just search, and then you bring out Queen. So it's the craziest 2-card combo in the game. I mean, technically 1.5, but still, it's just crazy. It's so absurd. And you can get to that combo so much more now too. So like, you don't even have to start out. You have Hallowed plus anything, you're going to go right into it, or Deception plus anything, you're going to go right into it, or Witch plus anything, or Wanted plus anything, because eventually you're going to get the Hallowed, which is going to get you to Moo, and then Moo can get you to Wanted, and then Wanted is going to get you to the Diabell Star, the other Diabell Star. So it's so ridiculous. My favorite boss monster, the 3 Witch. I don't have my QCR or my ultimate rare ones in, because when I play test, I do not like to use max rarity, but believe me, this is my favorite card in the game next to Engraver. Love this card. Love this card. And people are starting to forget that she comes back on the opponent's turn, which is absolutely hilarious, because it just provides you so much extra follow-up. They think they stop you because they got rid of the Fiendsmith. Psych. Bystials, because they're so relevant. People sleep on this one. Do not sleep on this. Let me see. I want to make sure the light doesn't kill it. Do not sleep on Sornir. Crazy card. Crazy card. This is like, I can't tell you how many times this has come up. Sornir gets its effect to dump a Bystial, regardless whether it's on field or not. People don't realize this. People pick up my card and read it all the time, because they're like, what? Because I'll send this for Deception. I'll send this for Deception and dump in. I'll dump in my Lubellion, and then I just go crazy. Mag, the best Bystial in the game, best dragon probably ever printed. Baldrake, that's arguable. Obviously, that's pure opinion, but I think Magma's just is too insane. It's so free, so much extra follow-up. I mean, this deck is literally all follow-up. You got follow-up from Azamina, you got follow-up from Bystial, you got follow-up from Fiendsmith. It's the craziest follow-up deck. So 1 Baldrake, 2 Druis, 3 Lubellion, and 1 Regained. Just to touch over this engine real quick, not much to say here about Lubellion. Lubellion's awesome, it's great. I do side out Lubellions when I go second. So these are one of the cards I side out, because I don't need them, especially if the matchup's not light and dark, you know, and you know you're not going to run into it like Mermail. I'm definitely siding out the Lubellions and the Branded Regain. But it comes up quite a bit, and I typically don't have to. But Branded Regain is just so insane, especially against Malice, because like they'll banish one of their Malice cards, and then I'll activate Branded Regain, and I'll shuffle back their Malice card in the deck, and now they lost one of their special summons, and it just stopped their extension. And Branded Regain's so slept on right now. Plus you get a Bystial out, so I can't tell you how many times it's come up where I'll special back out Magma and then get an additional Bystial for follow-up. It's crazy. And another big thing about Sornir, not just because it dumps obviously Lubellion to the grave, but it gives you the extra name, because it does come up. I've been in grind games, especially with Ryzel decks. Ryzel decks, you go into a grind game a bit because they have naturally broken combos. It's the new broken deck. And it comes up to have the extra name, because sometimes I'll activate, they'll stop my Druis, and then I'll be able to Baldrake, but then I'm able to get a search in the end phase, so I'd grab Sornir to stop like some extra plays. You know, and because I already used the effect in the end phase, they already burned all their effects, they set their stuff, so they can't really stop me using another Bystial in the end phase. So having the extra name really goes a long way, because I have used 2, and then the third name does come up. So Sorneer is just huge. I think it's really slept on when people don't play this card. You really should. If you're playing a Bystial package, you should really play Sorneer. I think that's where a lot of decks are failing, because they'll go like 2 Baldric, 3 Druis, and I think that's incorrect. 2 Druis is perfectly fine. I never needed more than 2 Druis. I never needed more than this. This is like the perfect ratio of Bystials. I wouldn't change it at all. I really love this ratio. Non-engine. The GOAT, the best hand trap ever created, the best board breaker ever created, the freest thing in the world, Imperm, always going to have it, so he's going to be like the first card you put in any deck. Triple T's, way too relevant right now. I mean, who doesn't like a Pot of Greed and a Mind Control, and rip one from your opponent's hand whenever you feel like it and just choose what you want? Then there's nothing better than looking at your opponent's face when you activate Triple T's and they're wondering what you're about to do. And I mean, typically if you're going for the card rip or the take, you already know they're about to lose. Like, it's crazy. Triple T is crazy right now. It's just too broken. 3 Ash, definitely up there as well with the best hand traps in the game. Standard. 3 Droll. I think this is a god card. This is definitely a meta call right now. This is a god card, this format. Until we get answers to it, but it just answers like it answers too much in the format. It answers the Mitsurugi Ryzel, it answers Ryzel, it answers Fiendsmith, it answers Fiendsmith Ryzel. It somewhat answers Malice, because like if they do the alert, you know, it kind of stops them from doing extra stuff, but it doesn't really hit Malice too hard, which I don't really mind. Everything else hits Malice fine. Like with all the Bystials you're running, that stops Malice extension so much. Like the Droll, to me, it stops everything else. It stops Rogue decks, it stops Sprite. You know, you're stopping Mermail, you're stopping a lot of decks with Droll, and you're stopping a lot of the 50% of the meta, which is the Ryzel and Ryzel variants. So Droll's just too crazy. It should be main decked. If you're not main decking Droll, I mean, I don't know what to say, man. I mean, this card's way too crazy. I mean, on top of that, it also stops Fualos. Like, you got, right here alone, you already got your 3 stops with Ash. You got an extra 3 stops with Droll, because it's come up quite a bit where somebody Fualos me, I'll special out my Requiem, and then on resolution of their draw, Droll. And then I just go full combo, because I don't need to add any cards in my hand with this deck, really. Like, typically there's only like one, like Lubellion, or maybe the Magnemite, like, or the Wanted, like, Deception. That's typically it. Like, you're never really going to catch me using multiple ad cards in my hand, and I can still full end board, which is a crazy thing about Moon and everything. So 3 Nib. Rock is just way too powerful. People are underestimating Rock. Every time people say it's not a Nib format, it's definitely a Nib format. Whenever people say it's a Nib format, it's a Nib format. Nib is just always in the format. It doesn't matter what you say. You always got to respect Rock. You should always fear Rock. Rock is going to come 9 times out of 10. Rock is going to just destroy your day. So always play Rock if you can play Rock. Next up, let's go ahead and go into the extra deck. So this is where I made some bigger tweaks here. All right, so we'll start off with the XCs, the DDD. Craziest rank 6 in the game, pretty awesome, does a lot. This one answers a lot more. Evolves our Lars, this is what I talked about in my last video. I really wanted to change it and add in the Evolves our Lars, because it comes up with the Bystials. Naturally, you need 2 Fiends with Wave King. Some people seem to forget that. Because it's come up where a Ryzel player tried to make a Bystial and an Engraver into a Wave King. I was like, bro, you need 2 Fiends. And they're like, what? But this one right here is generic 2/6 monsters. So this helps with the Bystials. Your Azaminas are also 6. Majority of your Azaminas are level 6 as well. Engraver 6. So having a generic level rank 6 is pretty key. Evolves our Lars is pretty awesome. And that negate just the card on the field is like a mini Desiree, plus it can't be targeted. So it's pretty cool. Like, and it came up quite a bit, and I love it. So definitely keeping this in. It gave me a couple games. Typhon, absolutely crazy card. Probably one of the only cards that stops Saint Azamina currently, just because it's that non-target shuffle. Chaos Angel, not too much to say here. I mean, you get in those Chaos Angel grinds. Azamina is level 6 darks for the majority. Your Bystials are level 6 darks for the majority, and you're playing Lacrima, who is a level 4 light. So you're 9 times out of 10, I've always been in light and dark Chaos Angel. Like, I always get to it. So then it just like puts people in a really shitty spot. Necroquip, crazy extension. This card's really good. I mean, it gives you the same thing. It's the free max rarity Chaos Angel if you're just opening through your Fiendsmith engine. The Omnigate, not much to say here. People forget that you deal double battle damage with your other Azaminas on the field. That does come up. So remember all the extra effects, because Azaminas don't just have one, they have multiple effects. Risalago, absolutely insane. People will stop this search with everything they got and always forget that when this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you also get a search. So I can search, and even if you don't stop that, I can search again by crashing it. So it's pretty crazy. This card is insane. And then on top of that, you're losing 500 attack for each and every single one of my Azaminas on the field. With sometimes it comes up to where I have 3 on field, or I'll have, 2 on field. With this build is more typical to see 2 Azaminas on field. So you'll see 2 Azaminas on field and you're losing 1,000. And then if I'm extending past because he couldn't break through my Azamina board, then I'm going to have 3 on field, and then you're losing 1,500. And then when Alliance Insight comes and we get the new fusion just called Azamina, the big boss monster, that one says when your opponent monsters are 0, they can't activate their effects. Their attack is 0. So essentially with this on board and your other Azaminas, they're losing like 1,500 attack. So anything 1,500 attack and below can't activate effects, which is just insane. Like, people don't realize how crazy Azamina is about to get with Alliance Insight. That being said, my extra deck is getting really tight. The GOAT, the most slept on card. I have brought this up. This shut down Blue Eyes. This has shut down so many decks. Like, it's so funny because they can't do the equip with Blue Eyes. They can't do the target with the field spell. It's just so funny. People don't realize that. Plus, your opponent takes all the battle damage with this card. Like, it's just insane. This card is ridiculous. One Desiree, the absolute GOAT. This was the card that I cut down to 1 copy. And when I cut it down to 1 copy to fit into Volzar Lars, that's when it actually came up where I should have had the 2nd copy. Won a game because it got removed, and I was like, well, it is what it is. But I was still able to beat through it, with the rest of it, because, the Azamina engine's no joke, and you can just beat over. The rest of your stuff is pretty substantial anyways. 2 Requiem is always going to be 2 Requiem, unless they hit Requiem. It always comes up. It's the #1 Bystial target. Everybody loves to banish your Requiems. 2 Requiem is always standard. I don't think you should ever get rid of 2. 1 Moon, this helps you bridge from your Azamina, because it can come up quite a bit where you can bridge from Azamina and your Bystials and go into your Fiendsmith engine, and it's pretty crazy. The 1 Sequence has been fine. Surprisingly enough, no one's ever banished my Sequence, and so I've always had it. But you also only have 1 target really, because you can't really use Rex Tremende right now, not until we figure out what's going on with the ban list and how they're going to hit Fiendsmith. But there is lines to get into Rex, but the extra dex is so tight right now, it's not worth the extra slot. I think if they limit Engraver to 1, though, we should take the time to find an extra slot for Rex, because that can add a Fiendsmith card that is removed from play. So people are naturally going to be targeting the single Engraver. Say the limit Engraver to 1. Naturally, that's going to be the #1 Bystial target now. They're going to try to hit the Engraver. So Rex, it'll be able to shuffle it back, so you can send Rex from your extra deck with Lacrima, and then use Rex effect to add Engraver back. So Rex is actually going to become relevant, and that's something people need to be aware of. 1 SP, it does come up. It saves games, and SP is so hilarious because it works with your branded regain, because like it's happened where I've banished my SP and another light and dark, and then I'll use branded regain, shuffle their guy back, and then I draw a card. So like I just completely get rid of their card and I'm gonna draw a card. So it's pretty hilarious. Or the same thing happens and the SP me and I had branded regain on. All right, well, I'm gonna shuffle back your SP. Like, it's pretty cracked. And then Egg Monday, the OTK line, the game killer. People can't beat Desiree with this bad boy on it. So that will conclude for the extra deck. Going into the side deck, this is where I made a few big changes as well, just to give me some extra help. We got the 1 Called By, 2 Crossout, 3 Strike, and that's for my going first build right there. I think these additions just like allow me to just make so much extra plays. It's just crazy. Obviously 3 Lancia, everybody's playing the 3 Lancia, man. You got to play the 3 Lancia. 3 triple T's. It comes up. It's pretty good. 3D barrier. I feel like those 9 are pretty standard. The only real meta calls that I made was just to allow me to get further extension, to get extra negates on board, having the extra strikes, you know, and getting those summon negates comes up, the cross out and call by, just so I can make sure that I get through my plays. It doesn't come up as much. I don't really need these call bys. Just call by is awesome. I mean, you could also main deck call by, but I wouldn't say you need to. So I decided it's fun. I like the extra protection, so I just put it in there, but I have some flexibility with the side deck. And that will be it for my Bystial Azamina Fiendsmith deck profile. Let me know what you guys think. All right, guys, let me know what you guys think about that deck profile. That's my spice. That's my 7-0, undefeated, 2-0'd all my opponents. All right, these guys are good players, man. Some of these guys did pretty well at the regionals. And it was a fight, man. It was a battle. Lots of blue eyes, lots of Rise L players, Malice. It was a grind, but we 2-0'd every single one. 7-0 record with this deck, and it's phenomenal. I love this deck so much. It's so consistent. It's so powerful. Tons of follow-up, lots of pressure constantly on the opponent. Whether they go first or I go first, it's irrelevant. Naturally, I lost most of my die rolls. So, I mean, I was able to apply enough pressure and then came back in and then fight. So, I really love this deck. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys are thinking of any kind of builds to splash with Azamina. If you guys are excited for Alliance Insight. If you guys have checked out these cards that are coming out in Alliance Insight, because these Azamina cards are crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. Let me know what you guys think. And let's go ahead and just keep building up this community, man. I really want to grow this community. I really want to have a creative community where we're all helping each other. You know, I love Yu-Gi-Oh's toxic vibes, all right? I love people trying to, you know, talk down, bash everybody, but let's grow, all right? You know, we can still talk shit. We can still bash people, you know? It's all good. That's what you like. That's what you like, man. I ain't going to hold you, all right? But let's build a community at least that's getting creative with these deck builds, you know, putting out new ideas, trying out different things instead of getting the same repetitive process where we're just copying everybody's deck over here doing Rise L Fiendsmith, you know, Malice Fiendsmith, Malice Ice Striker, Rise L Mitsurugi. It's all the same list, man, and I'm beating them down. All right, I'm beating them down with a 3-engine deck. Love the 3-engine style. You know, I'll probably never get away from the 3-engine style because I just think it's so cool. So, you know, but let me know what you guys think, man. Let's get creative, man. Let's build up this community and get more people in here with these diverse ideas. You know, I really want to see what kind of ideas are out there. I know there's a lot of creative people, man. I've talked to a few of you already who gave me some amazing ideas, you know, and it's just, I love that. I love the creative juices. You know, people are thinking out of the box, being like, oh, yo, you know, you could try this and it'll lead this combo. You know, these are the kind of things that you want to see, because then, you know, you never know. You can break the meta. I mean, this is how decks are built, is because people experiment and they find something like, hold up, this is kind of crazy. We need to try it. So let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, and let's grow, man. Let's grow. You know, if people in the comments are talking about builds, man, answer them, dude. Talk to the people in the comments, man. I want everybody to start talking together and start coming up with ideas. Communication is how the world goes around. That's how we've grown. This whole entire universe that we're in is because we all communicate with each other. All right? So let's grow this Yu-Gi-Oh community. Communicate with each other. Let's get it, baby. Stay swole. Don't forget, we just increased the mind level. Now you got to go out there, get some exercise in. All right, go for a walk, get your steps in. Maybe hit the gym if you got the time. Let's get it, baby. Mind, body, and soul.